Good morning. Love it. My name's Jeff White, and I serve on the Fellowship Board of Directors. Welcome to everybody today, whether you're joining us online or in person, whether this is your first time or your 100th time. We're delighted that you're here. Now, the best way for newcomers to get more information is to sign our virtual guest book, either via the QR code on your bulletin or at the welcome table in the fireside room. And everyone, please stick around for coffee and conversation and fellowship after the service. Online folks, you too can have an opportunity to meet with others for conversation after the service. Just stay in the Zoom room. And now, a few announcements. Well, the news is out, so it must be official. Highland Avenue will be under construction starting Monday, the 18th, yeah. Forever, okay? It's going to be like walking. No, it's not that bad. Okay, you can look at the start of last Friday's weekly email for important details, because it's detailed. I don't remember it all. But it will be interesting for a good while. A good chance for walking, nice walking. Surround yourself with art by our latest Gallery in the Round artist, Catherine Hensley, while you enjoy live floral-themed quartet and vocal music performed by the artist herself and joined by Lot Studio musicians and her own Madison Mayfield. Yeah, this looks good. Enjoy living plants and flowers while you sip and munch on tasty treats. All are welcome. Invite your friends to join you on Sunday, May 18th, 2:30 to 4:30, right here at the Fellowship. And lastly, we'd like to bid a warm welcome to Reverend Jack Gady, our guest preacher this morning. Reverend Jack serves as Associate Minister at the White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church in Matomida, Minnesota. He's in his 7th year of ministry and is currently on sabbatical. He, his partner Garrett, and their dog Bobo are currently on a road trip throughout the Midwest. Yeah, and they're happy to join us today. So, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Almost 85 years ago, African-American author Richard Wright was chronicling the origin and history of Black oppression and suffering in this country. In the midst of all the misery of rural poverty and the weariness of the hard life that he found in northern ghettos, he found spiritual strength. He said, "Our churches are where we dip our tired bodies in cool springs of hope, where we retain our wholeness and humanity despite the blows of death." It's important that we come together in good times and in bad times to support, comfort, encourage, and challenge each other. It's important that we connect with each other, even when some of us might be experiencing the need or desire to isolate, to withdraw. It's important that we come to church, to fellowship, to communities like this, to care for our tired bodies and for the tired bodies of our neighbors and friends, especially our neighbors who are threatened with the blows of death, neighbors threatened with deportation, gun violence, or the loss of their health care, or with sexism, sexual assault, harassment, bullying, neighbors threatened with loneliness, isolation, or loss of hope. To care for our tired bodies, we must know and admit that we are tired. We must tell ourselves and others that we have needs, that we have griefs and losses, along with our joys and celebrations. Some days we come to church to give blessings to and share blessings with our fellow journeyers, and some days we come to church because we need a blessing. Come, let us fellowship together. Please rise as you're willing and able for our opening hymn, number 318 in the gray hymnal, "We Would Be One." Since I'm new here, I did it in the wrong order. Forgive me. We got to light our chalice and do the hymn again. Let's light our chalice, right? Say together the words with me. In a world... It's on the side.
You're right. We missed.
It's okay. Let's say these words. Dr. King said, "Only when it is dark enough can you see the stars." We light this chalice as a symbol of our commitment to curiosity, courage, and compassion, to justice and to peace. Amen.
Good morning, friends. Hi. I invite anyone young at heart who would like to come forward for our story to do so at this time. Look at all of you here today. Goodness gracious, it's so nice to see you. So, do we remember the story I told last week where I brought my wonder box, my mystery box. You guys remember? And do you remember what was in the box? There's a kaleidoscope. What else was there? Andy? Seeds. Yeah, I brought a bunch of tools. Yes, Logan. Big heart. We brought a big heart too. Is that it? And Legos. We brought Legos. That was it. Yeah, we don't want to forget the Legos. And we talked about all the tools that we have in our toolbox to build a better world. Imagination, care, community, and compassion. And so I was telling my friend, the Dream Maker, about our story last week. And the Dream Maker said, oh wait, do you guys know what a Dream Maker is? No. Have you met the Dream Maker before? Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you about the Dream Maker. The Dream Maker, well, he's a little different than the Dream Maker that comes to you at night, you know, and brings you dreams. This Dream Maker has wild hair and glitter just everywhere. Just lives in a cloud of glitter. And painted, like, paint stains on their hands.
Are you sure that isn't me?
Why did you relate it, Sarah? And they have the most fabulous workshop, and it is full of wild and wonderful things. And so I was telling the Dream Maker about our story and about the story today, and Dream Maker said, let me send some things to you, some tools that I have in my workshop. So let's see what the Dream Maker sent, shall we? So first one, oddly hopeful objects. Yes. Would we like to look in here and see what's in our jar? Oh, yes, yes. Pull something out. Help me out here. What have we got? A paper clip. I bet that paper clip held someone's dreams for a very long time. A giant toe sock, because you never know what you're gonna need. What do you have? A bendy spoon. Yep.
I want that. A rock.
And a rock shaped like a heart, because we could all use a hopeful rock in our heart. Do you want to help me with one, Holden? Let's see, what does this say? What does this say? What if? You want to take the top off for me? We'll get your sister. Can you help us read one, Evie? There you go. What does it say?
What if clouds were marshmallows?
What if clouds were marshmallows? What does yours say, Holden? What if your bike could fly? What is this one? Go on.
What if kindness was contagious?
What if kindness was contagious? Ooh, these seem really powerful. I think we're going to have to be careful with these. Set them up. Oh, and this one, can you read this? Giggles. It says giggles, and I have to tell you, I thought these were my pickles last night, and I opened it, and all of the giggles fell out. And now it's empty. And I can't take it back empty. So I'm hoping you all can help me refill my jar full of giggles. So I'm going to count to 3, okay? And we're all going to giggle, and I'm going to catch the giggles in here. Okay, are we ready? 1. Some of you got a little ahead of yourselves. Slow down. 1, 2, 3. Full. Just beautiful. Oh, goodness. Well, my friend the Dream Maker said that one day, not too long ago, a younger kid, just like you guys, wandered into the shop. And the Dream Maker turned around, and there's just this kid standing there. And he's like, oh, hello, how are you? And the child said, well, I've been doing pretty good. I've just been walking around the shop and looking at things. And the Dream Maker said, is there something I could help you find specifically? And the little child said something very similar to what Clara said last week. He said, I want to imagine a world where nobody feels left out, where everyone gets to play and eat and feel safe and have a home, I want to imagine a world that feels like this workshop. And the dream maker said, yeah, that is my kind of dream. So now I ask all of you, what kind of world do you imagine? Just sit and think about it for a minute. And what I'd like you to do is cup your hands and whisper your dream into your hands and then hold it tightly. Can we do that? Let's be. So now I want you all to throw your dreams out into the wind, and I'm going to catch those too. Our wishes. Oh, the dream maker's going to be so happy when I bring in these. So now your job is to carry that dream everywhere you go in your heart, out into the world, because that's how our dreams grow and how imagination becomes real. When you take kindness and fairness and joy out into the world to make your dreams come true, that's a wonderful thing. And the world could use a lot more of all of that right now. So next week when we are together for our very special RE Sunday, we're going to talk about what happens when our dreams take root right here in our congregation. So I hope you all will join us for that. And today's our last day of RE, so we are going to go talk about all the things we've learned this year and maybe have some treats. Can we sing our children to their classes, please?
The first reading today is called This Faith by Heidi Cottom. Let us be a faith that gathers, reaching for one another through the walls of hate others build, through the cages of ignorance and arrogance, and through the fear that burns city streets.
Let us be a faith that sees a vision of a better world, more compassionate, more just, more holy, and with more love.
There is a faith that binds up the broken, cauterizes battle wounds with the balm of peace, sings longer and louder than the trumpets of war. Let us be that faith too.
Let us be the ones that do not tread lightly in this world, but who light it up with our love, who hold up the mirror of worth and dignity, who are the sanctuary that others seek.
But first, let us be a faith that worships together, here, this morning, in this space, at this moment. Let us be a faith.
We will now give and receive the offering. This morning, half of the non-pledge offering will be donated to Undue Medical Debt. This organization strives to end the uniquely American injustice of medical debt. They do so by purchasing debt at a negotiated rate, relieving the obligation for debtors with no tax consequences for them or donors. Since their founding in 2014, they've relieved over $15 million for nearly 10 million people. The other half of the offering will support programs here in our fellowship that make this a place of community, spiritual growth, love, and justice. We'll pass the baskets here in Fellowship Hall, and alternatively, for those of you joining us from home or here in the room with a cell phone, you can go to our website and make your contribution today or any day. And if you are visiting with us today, please know your presence here is gift enough. Invite Fellowship Voices back up to sing.
come to places like this to see and to be seen, to teach and to be taught, to hear and to be heard. We also come to places like this to share our joys and sorrows. Sometimes that sharing happens over coffee, and sometimes it happens here in this moment of quiet and stillness in our service. Some of us are struggling with addiction or anxiety, depression or isolation. Some of us might have a recent or chronic health diagnosis, physical or mental. Some of us are needing emotional support or support for our spirit, for our interior life. Whatever our needs, we bring them here. Along with our joys and our celebrations, our milestones, our little moments of contentment, they're all swirled together right here and right now in this moment of togetherness. So just for a moment, I invite you to think about the people in your life that need a little extra love and support. Take a breath as you ponder them, ponder their situation and their need. And now we speak their names out loud in this room.
McKinley, Rick, Jennifer, Olivia, Gemma, Dylan.
We light the candle here for all these joys and sorrows spoken and for the ones that remain unspoken in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. Please join me for a moment of prayer or meditation. Take a moment, settle in, breathe deep. The spirit of life, spirit of love, spirit of mystery and wonder that surrounds us. We know the importance of carving out time for ourselves and for our well-being, and we know that this time is as good as any other to stop, to be still, to reflect, and to say out loud that we need help. We can't do this on our own. We're not islands, but a part of an intricate web, connected to and supporting each other. May we bring awareness to those strands right now, the tethers keeping us together, finely tuned strings that can sing a beautiful and harmonious melody. These strings are also ripe with tension. They're tuned to particular keys, particular notes. There are also chords of dissonance, conflicting melodies, syncopation, harmony. All of us together are experiencing joy and sorrow, hope and sickness, health and heaviness, levity and despair. But in this moment, in this calm and centering space, we will be employing a loving kindness meditation practice of concentric circles. So beginning with ourselves and going outward to our inner circle, to our outer circles, and then to the whole web. So join me here, finding a posture of blessing, maybe internally or externally, maybe placing a hand over your heart and one hand on your belly. We're going to sing together a meditation on loving kindness, starting with ourselves. May I be filled. May I be
Your soul and love. I be one with you.
another deeper breath as we move through another round, blessing a more complex and complicated version of what we mean when we say you, maybe thinking of the specific people that frustrate or annoy you. Yes, even him. Yes, even her. No one is outside this loving embrace. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. And one more final breath. We say a blessing for the whole world, for all of life, for the elephants to the microbes, for our planet itself, for the whole interconnected web of which we are a part. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole. Let us be aware of the breadth of our circle as we draw it ever wider, knowing that we are more equipped to hold this alone together than we can alone. May it be so, and amen.
Our second reading this morning is Go Boldly by Jean Olson. May you be brave enough to expose your aching woundedness and reveal your vulnerability. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change as you do. May you sing the music within you, composing your own melody, playing your song with all your heart. May you draw, paint, sculpt, and sew, showing the world your vision. May you write letters, poetry, biography, slogans, graffiti, the great novel, laying bare your words to love and to hate. May you love even though your heart breaks again and again. And until the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and with courage.
Well, some of my best friends in the world live right here in Ames, Iowa. So I've actually come here a lot through the years. Back in the day when Kent was your minister and I was still in seminary, I visited here. And I know, speaking of seminary, I also know AJ, who was your interim minister, I know. Lovely guy. And I've known Kelly for quite some time. So it really is a treasure to be here with you all in this context. I happen to know that Kelly was able to get away to be with her mother for Mother's Day and her father for his 90th birthday. So, glad to be with you. Thank you for having me. Up at my church in Mahtomedi, Minnesota, every year the ministers put one item into the annual service auction where the winning bidder gets to choose a sermon topic. I know. As you can imagine, I always feel a certain amount, probably the appropriate amount, of trepidation when I willingly offer the choosing of a future sermon topic up for bidding. I have no idea what the winning bidder will want me to preach about and explore. And fortunately for them, they only choose the question that needs exploring, not the answer, right? That's my job. And this is also fortunate for me since I have to do my own searching and preach my own authentic truth and not someone else's. Needless to say, I was pleasantly surprised recently when the winning bidder offered me the topic that needs exploring right now. He and his wife had just had their first child, a boy, and they asked a very simple question. How should my wife and I raise a son in this current moment? Right, just an easy topic. Anyone out there have any answers for me? No, actually, go ahead, shout out some answers. How do we raise our children right now, boys especially? Supportive emotion? Support their emotions. Love. Compassion. Humor. Listening. Model. Is that one? Patience. Say it again.
Give them
Room to fail. Yeah.
In community.
One more time.
In community.
In community, yeah. Hugs. Dancing. Yeah.
It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry.
Freedom.
Freedom. Yeah. Sports. Humility. One more time. Love. Yeah. All right, there you go. There's the sermon. I mean, right, it's a great question. Since this couple happened to have a boy, how do we raise our boys right now? Especially with all the political happenings within this context, overrun occasionally by misogyny and patriarchy, and with both acknowledged and unacknowledged male privilege alive and well. Also, amidst this necessary, long overdue moment that we are currently experiencing, right? This moment where we are complicating our understandings of gender and sexuality. This has been a process that goes in phases, which is why feminism has been categorized by waves, right? Second wave feminism began in the 60s, third wave feminism began in the 90s, and many people say that we are now either into our fourth or fifth wave, depending on who you ask. So how do we raise our children right now, right? So much has changed since the 60s or since the 90s, or even since 2010. Since 2010, we've experienced the Me Too movement, the Christine Blasey Ford testimony at the hearing of Brett Kavanaugh, the Women's March of 2017, maybe even the People's March of 2025. Maybe some of you were there for that. And that's just to name a few. We've learned so much as individuals, and I want to believe that we're learning a lot culturally or collectively, but sometimes I doubt that as much learning is happening as I would like. The amount of politicians accused of sexual assault or harassment or infidelity seems kind of large right now, and like nothing in that category even disqualifies someone from public office anymore. I look back on some of the political scandals of the past as almost quaint, right? Think Gary Hart in the 1980s, or Alexander Hamilton in the 1790s. They were both deemed unqualified or unfit for public office when their extramarital affairs were uncovered. Do I dare to long for days like that again? I don't know. But when it comes to the various social movements that are animating our world right now, feminism in all of its various waves is just one of them, right? We're living in a world that's been changed by the Black Lives Matter movement. We've had our understanding of gender identity and gender expression broadened and expanded as we've listened deeply to the stories of our trans and non-binary siblings. And as a result of all these movements, there's a countercultural movement afoot right now to push against woke culture. And I want to name that plainly as what it is. It's an attempt to go back to sleep. It's an attempt to return to the status quo, where many people were made invisible. When the status quo tries to reign supreme again, it's as if the majority class are saying, this system works just fine for me. Yeah, we know, right? One example I heard recently went like this. Let's stop being politically correct and just call all the people who run the various boards and companies chairmen. Most of them are men anyway, and I don't think women should be offended by being called chairmen. I know, right? We know that if the shoe was on the other foot, I don't believe any man would allow himself to be called a chairwoman, right? And also, what's so hard about just calling them chairs? For example, the chair of the board just banged her gavel and she wants you to take a seat, right? That's just English language. This move against woke culture is also a push against enlightenment. It's a push against a more enlightened way of speaking that utilizes more nuance. This nuanced and enlightened way of thinking involves understanding that not every person is like you, or wants to be like you, or has a life like yours, right? There's variety in our world. We're different, and that's actually a good thing, maybe even a great thing. Our diversity is our strength, and when we stop celebrating it, or even when we legislate against it, we are short-circuiting the prospect of being a more perfect union of people with different religions and languages and perspectives. We are at risk of flattening out our world. Which reminds me of one of the best graphic novels that I have ever read. It is called Unflattening by Nick Sousanis. And it was the first ever comics form doctoral dissertation at Columbia University. In it, Nick Sousanis, the author, explores the richness of life that gets accentuated when we honor multiple perspectives. He argues his point by talking about a book he once read called Flatland by Edwin Abbott. Has anyone read that book? Yeah, a few of you. That's more hands than I usually get. In Flatland, all the people are two-dimensional. The main protagonist is a person named A Square, and one day A Square encounters a sphere. Imagine his surprise. He has no framework for understanding what a sphere is because Mr. A Square only exists and sees in two dimensions. It takes him a long time to even understand what this sphere is and how it operates. But he definitely has no idea how to explain what he's just experienced to his fellow Flatlanders without them thinking that he's lying or somehow unhinged from reality. Sousanis uses the story of Flatland to highlight the importance of remaining open to new perspectives, even ones that are hard to understand or accept, even ones that might totally shift your whole understanding of the world. Now, of course, in this metaphor, Mr. A Square attempts to convince a few of his fellow Flatlanders that a circle could be more than a circle, right? If the circle weren't just flat, but had this third dimension of depth, could it be a sphere? He probably convinced a few of his Flatlanders about this third dimension, but many people still didn't believe him. Those Flatlanders that start believing in the third dimension and accepting stories from three-dimensional beings and their lived experience start talking about their learning process as an awakening, right? An enlightenment. They once understood the world one way, and now they're awake to a new reality that they hadn't seen before. The other Flatlanders that still don't see or don't believe in the third dimension start getting upset by these awake or woke believers. When it comes down to it, they're afraid of this third dimension because their grandparents and their parents never knew anything about it. And if they believed it now, wouldn't they be undercutting the very education that their ancestors gave them? Right? And when people are afraid of certain ideas, they often make fun of them. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Because if people are feeling insecure or insignificant, they can feel bigger and more important by putting down or mocking other people or other ideas. But Sousanis asks his readers to stay open to the fresh knowledge that comes from new perspectives. So what I said to that couple that won the auction item and chose my sermon topic, I'll say to you as well. We're still learning, right? And that's a good thing. One important lesson for your son and for all of our children and youth, really, maybe all of us, is the importance of being a lifelong learner. And we can set that example here by celebrating education throughout our whole lifespan. And that takes humility and courage. It takes guts to admit that we may have gotten it wrong years ago, or even just last year. Or at the very least, we can know better now, and when you know better, you can do better, right? I'm going to go off script for a second. I created a class for my people up in Mahtomedi where we watched some films from the Black film canon and discussed anti-racism topics. And early on in the class, I asked them, When is the last time you learned something and that learning process was joyful? And no one had an answer, right? I was very surprised by this. Then I thought about it, and when we're studying racism and anti-racism, people get really closed and defensive. And when they have to admit that they've learned something, that means that they were wrong before, right? That they had past wrongs, mistakes. That's hard to admit. So how do we change that? How do we become a people who are okay admitting our past mistakes, having humility and courage to keep learning and keep growing, admitting that there's room to grow, right? That's the question I left for this couple and to you all. For many of us, this learning happens when we become parents and when we choose to parent differently than our parents did. We retain some of the wisdom and strategies, but we find new ones too, right? This is not a slam on our older generations. It's a manifestation of the reality that we've learned a lot, culturally and collectively, and as we know better, we do better, right? We've lived through many different social movements, and now we're the recipients of the lessons that each of those movements has taught us, unless we're too stubborn to learn them or improve our behavior. Speaking of which, our current president is undoing the majority of the progress that our governmental systems have made in the world of DEI, right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is incredibly disheartening and frankly unsurprising. I recently had a friend tell me that when he hears people complain about DEI, he asks them, which part are you opposed to? Diversity, equity, or inclusion, right? To really bring it to a point. I love this strategy because it slows it down and uncovers the letters for what they actually mean, not the kind of slur they've become. But we can keep using these words as they were intended, right? And sticking to our values. Inclusion is one of our core values as Unitarian Universalists. And there are many times we can't just sit back and expect our government or political leaders to be leading us boldly and progressively into the future that we want and that we're building towards. And in those times, it is incumbent upon us to take up that mantle. When our leaders are de-emphasizing or even outright banning DEI practices, then we are compelled to demand them even louder, and to use them and to celebrate them, to practice them in bolder ways. So let's talk about inclusion at every turn and pursue it with passion. Let's tell stories about how inclusion has benefited us, benefited our communities. Let's tell stories about how we've been included, or we've been doing the inclusion, right? Let's tell stories about how much richer life is when you include multiple different perspectives, rather than only including the stories that shore up what we already believe or confirm the way we already think. Let's continue the work of unflattening our world. Let's add more perspectives and more nuance, more dimensions that need attention. Let's make America complicated again. Let's resist the urge of the single story. As our poet said earlier, let us be the ones who do not tread lightly in this world, but light it up with our love, who hold up the mirror of worth and dignity, who are the sanctuary others seek. May it be so, and make it so. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1053, How Could Anyone?
How could anyone ever tell you you were less than holy?
words of the extinguishing of the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you all for letting me be here and sharing this time with you. Thank you to our musicians and our tech staff. I know it can feel tender and vulnerable to wear your values on your sleeve, but I hope you leave this morning's service with a little extra bravery. And I want to share again a few words from Jean Olson. May you be brave enough to expose your aching woundedness and reveal your vulnerability. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change as you do. May you sing the music within you, composing your own melody, playing your song with all your heart. And until the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and courage. Go in peace.